Hi, this is Scott Garibay. Boy, I got a hot one for you today. All right, everybody missed it. Nobody. Okay, everybody was wrong about Radiant Citadel, in my humble opinion. So, just so you're aware, we got the first chapter of Radiant Citadel on D&D Beyond for free. And okay, let me get to my point. Let me tell you what the video is about real fast. Okay, everybody thought that Radiant Citadel was a peaceful hippie commune for vegans. Everyone was wrong. The Radiant Citadel is the most powerful weapon ever created in Dungeons & Dragons, and not by a little, by a large margin. The Radiant Citadel is outrageously dangerous, incredibly destructive, and by far the greatest weapon ever. The most powerful weapon ever created in Dungeons & Dragons, and it can be used by player characters and non-player characters alike. Let's get into this. I'm going to walk you through it. All right, here we go. All right. So first of all, I got to talk about D&D Beyond a little bit. Boy, am I delighted with D&D Beyond. So Wizards of the Coast bought D&D Beyond, and they have just put the hammer down, right? Like that vehicle is speeding along, and it is gaining momentum every day. I find myself on D&D Beyond far more than I ever expected to. I was delighted with the recent Vecna content, and I am absolutely delighted with the free first chapter of Radiant Citadel. And I recently got the Acquisitions Incorporated book for nothing. They gave me an entire book on D&D Beyond for nothing. I'm sorry that deal is no longer available if you didn't get it when the time was right. But they're just throwing down a lot of great stuff on D&D Beyond. I love the physical books. I will always buy the physical books. And I have grumped about D&D Beyond quite a bit, but I got to be honest with you. I try for transparency. And the reality is I'm really, really growing to love D&D Beyond. A lot, right? Oh, and by the way, I recently told all my players, every single thing on D&D Beyond, I'm going to count it equal to what is on the books at our table. I have a player who really loves it and uses it a lot. I just want to respect his energy and not make him, he actually purchases stuff there, and I want his dollars to be well spent at my table. So I'm counting D&D Beyond as equal for my players at my table. Full transparency. Let's get into this. You will not believe this. Listen to this, okay? All right, so one, I read this thing cover to cover, right? And here's the flow, okay? The Radiant Citadel is the Auroral Diamond, and that is surrounded by Conquer Jewels, okay? The Auroral Diamond is this incredibly powerful diamond that glows different colors, okay? Now, when the Auroral Diamond glows a specific color, that means it is the birth of a civilization, okay? It's right there, chapter 1, read it, okay? Now, get this. When that color that color will not reappear on the the color of the Auroral Diamond will not go back to the same color as the birth of a civilization, okay? It will change when the Auroral Diamond changes back to the same color that was set when so here's the flow. A civilization occurs on a D&D realm, okay? The Auroral Diamond then changes to that color. Exactly when the Auroral Diamond changes to that same unique hue, that civilization dies. The Radiant Citadel is a civilization destruction engine, in my humble opinion. If you read what is in that chapter, and you're paying attention, you will see that the Radiant Citadel is the greatest weapon ever created, the most powerful weapon ever created in Dungeons & Dragons. All right, so here's the flow, okay? So first of all, there are conquered jewels for which circle the Auroral Diamond for 15 distinct civilizations. there are additional conquered diamonds that are not listed, right, but are existent and invite you as the dungeon master specifically to connect them to your own world that you've created, or every single realm ever created in any Dungeons and Dragons, and it doesn't matter what version. Okay, so Sigil, the Sigil Fraternity of Order, that has never been discussed in 5e, and they're like, hey, you can connect a Conquered Jewel, to Sigil, to the Sigil City, and then it also says specifically you can connect any of the existing 5e books. You can create a Conquered Jewel as a dungeon master, and that will connect that existing 5e setting to the Radiant Citadel. You can also do it for any of the other editions as well. Okay, and again, okay. All right, there we go. All right, so here's the flow. Keith Baker's Eberron. Okay, it's in 5e. There's a point in history, in Dungeons and Dragons history, where the first Warforged is made. That is the creation of a civilization, the Warforged civilization, on Eberron. Okay? More Warforged are created, many of them stay on Eberron, and many of them diaspora. They go out to all different realms and areas. Okay? The moment, according to what is stated directly in Chapter 1, okay, the moment that civilization created on Eberron, the first Warforged, that Auroral Diamond, okay, because you as a Dungeon Master are connecting Eberron, the Auroral Diamond had a specific hue, right? Let's say it's Storm Blue, okay? So, the first Warforged is created. The Auroral Diamond glows Storm Blue, okay? At that point, then the next thing that happens is you as a Dungeon Master create a Conquered Jewel, and that Conquered Jewel can go back and forth to Eberron, okay? Now, you have the birth of, so the Auroral Diamond is turning Storm Blue, the first Warforged is born, there is a new civilization on Eberron, okay? Then, a Conquered Jewel is created by the Dungeon Master, and trade can go back and forth between the Radiant Citadel and Eberron. Okay? Alright. So, the next thing that happens is non-player characters come to the Radiant Citadel, or player characters come to the Radiant Citadel. Now, this gets really dark, right? And by the way, everybody thought, that Radiant Citadel was going to be very lighthearted. It's incredibly dark. Incredibly dark. Okay? So basically, a non-player character or one of your player characters, okay? And I'm sorry to say this, but I have been wrong about something in the past. And I have acknowledged it in the past. By the way, people say I don't say when I'm wrong. I say when I'm wrong all the time. I used to say that no version of Dungeons & Dragons allowed you to be an evil character, player character. That is wrong. Every version of Dungeons & Dragons allows you to be a player character. I still contend that all versions of Dungeons & Dragons encourage you to be good or neutral. But flat out, I've done the reading, and every single version of Dungeons & Dragons, none of them directly prohibit it, right? From what I've seen, there's always been space for a player character to get an evil player character in there, okay? So unfortunately, I would love to say this can only be done by a non-player character, but it can be done by a player character. You can have this. What I'm about to tell you can absolutely be done. The Radiant Citadel can be used like a longbow is used by a player character to shoot a single non-player character. The Radiant Citadel can be used by a player character as written in Chapter 1 to destroy an entire civilization. That's incredible. I that's dark. That is incredibly dark. Now, in my opinion, only an evil character would destroy an entire civilization. Even if they decided to destroy mind flayers, right? That's still evil to destroy every single living mind flayer. But Radiant Citadel, as written, right, in chapter 1. You can go look at the text. It's already done. It's here, right? The Radiant Citadel is a civilization destruction engine, in my humble opinion. Follow through. All right. Okay. Player character. All right. Actually, let's say non-player character, but everything I'm about to say can absolutely be done by a player character. Okay. So non-player character comes along, and they say, "Oh, hey, look at this. In the records, when the Radiant Citadel turned storm blue, the first Warforged was born on Eberron. If I make the Auroral Diamond go storm blue again, if I simply change the color of the Aurora Diamond to the same color as when the birth of the civilization of Warforged occurred on Eberron, every single living Warforged will die. That will be the death of that civilization. They will all die. And it doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't just kill them on Eberron. It is the death of the civilization, right? Because if they were alive elsewhere, it wouldn't be the death of the civilization. It would just be a few Warforged dying on Eberron, right? But civilizations span, and anywhere you can find a Warforged, the civilization of Warforged that was born on Eberron is still alive. But the book says, the D&D Beyond, Chapter 1 of the Radiant Citadel, says that the Radiant Citadel can be used as a civilization destruction engine. When the Auroral Diamond turns one distinct hue at the birth of the civilization, it must change to a new color, which it can do multiple times a week, right? So here's the flow. Civilization, you have the Auroral Diamond changes hue. Civilization is born, okay? And then, at that time, there needs to be another color change, which means another civilization needs to be born somewhere in all of the D&D realms, which, is going to happen pretty frequently, right? And then, if that Auroral Diamond is changed by any non-player character or any player character to match the same color it was at the birth of the civilization, that civilization dies. It is destroyed. It is the death of the civilization. All of the creatures, no matter what realm they went to, all die simultaneously. All living creatures that were born in that civilization. That is incredible. So, while we all thought that Radiant Citadel was going to be a peace-loving hippie commune with a bunch of vegans in it, we were all incredibly wrong. The Radiant Citadel is the most powerful weapon, in my humble opinion, ever created in Dungeons & Dragons. It is actually a civilization destruction engine. That's my humble opinion. Did you read this? Did you see this? Why do you think Dungeons & Dragons did this? This is shocking. This is a curveball. No one saw this coming. No one thought that what looked like a hippie commune, stuffed with vegans, was going to turn out to be the most powerful weapon a player character could ever get their hands on. Far more powerful than anything that's ever existed anywhere else in any other version. No one saw this coming, right? And I think I'm the first to recognize it, all right? So get thine self to D&D Beyond, read that thing, and let me know your opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.